Galatians chapter 4 and verse 16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Yahweh. I want to give all glory and praises to our Heavenly Father Yahweh, and we do so in the name of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai. Grace and mercy to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth that are waiting on the second coming of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Today we're going into just some of the breaking news that has occurred. As you see, Andrew Tate, who is known to be a big social media influencer, has been arrested along with his brother Tristan Tate. This is a topic that's pretty much being, shared throughout the social media world. It's all over YouTube as well. And, one of the things I want to kind of get into is just kind of how this situation with Andrew Tate can mirror some of us that are, pushing the gospel, and understand that, a situation like this that happens is something that happened to people of time past that stood up against the norm, stood up against the standard of society of that time, meaning people with a revolutionary mind that are not going with the status quo. Now, we're not promoting Andrew Tate as some kind of messiah or somebody that is an example to follow. What we're just simply pointing out is that speaking truth, speaking objective truth, is actually considered very dangerous, especially when it's concerning what a man should be and what a woman should be. And right now we're living in a really bizarro world where people are actually thinking the opposite way in which things are to be. Okay, their left hand is now their right and their right is now their left. So people are now substituting light for darkness and thinking everything is okay. And what a lot of people don't understand is that the way in which this society has been degraded, or this world has been corrupted, is in part because of the fact that we have a satanic vibration that's over the whole earth, okay, and is ruling through a set of people, all right, known as the Edomites. And the thing about it is, I've watched, a lot of different things that Andrew Tate has said, and I will say about 80 to 90% of the stuff I agree with. Some stuff is stuff that he wouldn't align with unless he understood the scriptures, and there are certain things that are scripturally, would be sound in how to move. However, for the 80 to 90% of the stuff that is on point, this is a very big problem because of the fact that it's getting inside the minds of young men. And the men that's this affecting, if you look at his age group that is actually listening to him, it's actually those age group between like 18 to 40, which are the able-bodied men, or the men that basically tend to be the most dangerous in basically stopping, a power from being able to continue their movement. Meaning the elites identify, young men, particularly, under 50, under, a certain age, or between the ages of 18 to 50, you could say, as basically being dangerous because they're the most revolutionary. In fact, the younger men tend to be more revolutionary. And how do we know this? I mean, just look at some of the leaders of time past and look at the ages of some of these men, the men that were able to stand up and to try and push an angle against what the status quo was. These were men that had usually hit a particular peak in their life where they understood life around them, and they understood that they did not want to see the world as it was continuing the way it is going. And just case in point, you got men like, Malcolm X, you got people like, of course, Martin Luther King, you look at what happened with Marcus Garvey, so on and so forth, okay? You have these young men, you actually probably seen probably movies and documentaries about men like this. We're talking about the likes of a Stephen Biko or a young Nelson Mandela, prior to him basically selling out his people. The younger men are the ones that are going to basically stand up against what is, going on in society, or what's going on in the world power structure. Thomas Sankara, Tupac Amaru, I'm talking about the Inca King. Like, we're talking about people, men that are in this age group that are the ones that are going to be the most rebellious. And what's happening right now, as truth begins to come out and truth begins to be spoken, you will become the enemy. Okay, and the highest form of truth is this gospel. Okay, because the people that believe in the true gospel are going to be hated not only by the powers that be, but they're going to be hated by their own people. Okay, including family, including fellow other Israelites. Okay, and that's the thing. A lot of times, what people don't understand is that they're not examining where they stand in this particular game that the Most High set up. Are you standing on the side of righteousness or wickedness? Are you standing on the side of basically, are you friend or are you foe? Okay? Are you on the side of the Most High or are you on the side of Satan? Because this is what's really going on, and this is becoming a great dividing issue. And a lot of young men are being, being destroyed on a daily basis because they're being told to not be men, which is going against their nature, and they're getting very frustrated. And, in general, we're talking about just men in general of all nations. However, we're more concerned with the Israelite man, the seed of Jacob. However, this thing that's going on is affecting other nations of people, including the young Edomites who are supposed to be having their way with the world, being that their elites have the rulership. But they're getting frustrated because they can't even enact how they feel like they should be under their own rulership. And for them, like the scripture said, the children shall complain of an unrighteous father. So, I mean, when we go into the scriptures, these things are happening because the elites really want to downgrade men as much as possible, weaken men as much as possible, which they created through the welfare state and through mass media. They've done a weakening over the last few decades of men, because if they weaken the men, it makes it easier for them to conquer everybody in this new world order that they want to set up. And Andrew Tate was a person who came out of nowhere and rose to prominence very fast. Now, some may say that, hey, he's a setup, he's controlled opposition. It's possible he could be or could have been compromised. There are signs of things that he's doing that appear to be, certain hand gestures and things that may seem that he may be involved in. It could be controlled opposition, but it might not be. Okay? And the reason why I say that, because of some of the things that have happened in regards to him being arrested, back in the spring for the same thing he's being accused of, and he got out of that. But he was also banned off of various social media platforms. And the thing about it is, a good controlled opposition is one that's being promoted by the media fully. Now, he was on Piers Morgan. He was on Piers Morgan's show after the whole controversy surrounding him and him being banned off of, different social media platforms. He is on Twitter, as we know that what's his name, your boy Elon Musk, got Twitter and basically reinstated him, just like he reinstated Trump. And people are looking at these things and saying, what was the purpose of him being reinstated? And we're going to kind of go into how everything went down. Now, like I said, regardless of whether some people think this is a controlled opposition, that this is all some staged event to make things a certain way, understand this: whether it's staged or it's not staged, you're going to see a depiction of some level of punishment, okay, and basically slander upon somebody for things that they basically are not doing, okay? And like I said, I'm not knowing the details of this case, but however, I could see this coming a mile away. And I know, because I'll go over some of the things that happened over this last week that basically made it clear that something is going to basically occur with him, okay? And it was just very obvious. And a lot of people who basically follow Andrew Tate and know what's happened over the last week were saying, well, at this point, he's going to probably get under massive attack. And he even talked about it even on his this appearance that we'll get into, that he had on a big and rising YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and go into this. This right here is, one of the truths that he's saying, okay? Now, this is from the Instagram page Giga Hustlers, okay, which this may be an affiliate Tate channel or Tate page, because how he's maintaining his presence on social media is he has various men that he's paying to create social media accounts on various platforms and promote his talking points, which by extension come back to him and drives money towards him back in the forms of AdSense revenue or people buying his courses from Hustler Academy, which he owns. Okay, and like we said before, we're not in support of everything that he's done or his lifestyle. There's things that he's done. That's something that can come back another time. But however, when truth is spoken, and it is what it is. Okay, and we're going to basically talk about, this comment that he made. So go ahead and hold your horses, and some of you Jezebels, clutch your pearls.
In the sense that women don't feel like they need men in the most physical sense, perhaps like naturally.
It's very interesting. Women don't feel like they need men in a physical sense because life is soft. And it's bullshit because you still need men by proxy, one. And two, the second life gets difficult, you very quickly learn how much you need men. But women will go, I'm independent, I don't need no man because I have an OnlyFans and men pay my OnlyFans, and if anyone comes up to me, I'll call a male police officer. I don't need men. Shut up. Of course you do. You just named your whole life is based on fucking men. The road you're driving on was paved by a man. The house you're living in was built by a man. The car you're driving was designed by a man. Your whole life depends on men. And the second anything bad were to happen to you, the second you were physically threatened, or times were to get hard, or war were to start, or famine, or riots, the first thing you do is find a big strong man, shit yourself, and throw the feminism out the window. Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing, and all that crap vanishes. It's garbage. Glitch in what way?
Okay, so everything he said there was the truth. Okay? And like I said before, any of you Ahab, Jezebel-minded people that are offended by this, you're done. You're out of there. Okay, and any sisters among us that disagree with what he said, y'all just gonna get destroyed. Okay, because any of y'all that's harboring the secret Jezebel mentality that is among us, you're not going to get any covering. Okay, you're not going to get a covering. You're going to just be destroyed. The Most High going to leave you out there in the time of trouble to get utterly destroyed and wasted away because you don't understand your place. Now, everything he said right there is true. Now, this is one of the reasons why he is being heavily targeted. And if you look at comments on this clip, you're going to see women talking all kind of madness, disagreeing, but everything he said is the truth. And a lot of times what is happening in this society is a big illusion that women have been sold, is that they don't need a man, but everything by proxy that they get is dealing with the man. And the fact is that the Most High set it up that man is above the woman. And this right here, just on a fundamental level, is one of the reasons why they are against Andrew Tate and against men that preach those same sentiments when it comes to the Bible and setting up an actual standard that is to be followed, as we see that this mentality that men and women are equal and that a woman can be above a man has actually utterly destroyed our nation. It has destroyed our people. Okay? So this is just a 60-second ramble, a talking point in which he said over a course of over 2 hours. Okay, on this same live stream, I will show y'all the link as well, and you can see what's happening now. This is one of the reasons why I knew that something was going to go on with him. Because this channel, Just Pearly Things, which is basically it's a woman, this woman right here. Okay, this is the woman Pearly, or Pearl, and she has a channel called Just Pearly Things, and this channel is probably one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube. It's actually going to soon reach 1 million. And he had this debate that went on. It says Andrew Tate and Pearl debate modern woman, and this was 4 days ago. Already 2.4 million views. And the crazy thing about it is that within the first 24 hours of this debate being debuted, it had 1 million views. And then after that, because it was going so viral and it was becoming such a massive debate, and he utterly destroyed their talking points for 3 hours. It was just it was an intellectual just drubbing. All right, of 3 hours. This is just pure domination from start to finish. Okay, this is like Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. I mean, it was just domination from round one. Okay, and this right here embarrassed all feminists. Okay, these women were getting destroyed on all talking points to the point where they didn't even know what to say after a while. Even Brittany Renner, okay, who is considered to be one of the foremost feminists in this generation. Okay, the IG model, the one who basically is this generation superhead, she could not say much of anything. He utterly destroyed every talking point that she made and these other women made and made them look silly. And everybody, man and woman, are tuning into this. And what eventually happened is Just Pearly Things got a notification that this particular video of hers, which is her most popular video or most popular long debate video that she has, that it'll be not only demonetized, but it'll be age restricted as well. Okay? So that prevented it from actually being even viewed even more. Okay, now this is one of the things that's happening in society right now, is that people are seeking for some level of truth wherever they can find it, and when they find it, they want to listen to it. They want to hear it. And even some women, they want to hear alternative talking points, even if they're upset, because again, some people are attracted to drama, right? So this was a very good debate that happened, and when this happened, I mean, it was very obvious that him being on this platform and this happening, remember, he is banned from YouTube. If you're seeing Andrew Tate's videos or shorts on YouTube, it's not his own channel. It's actually other people that are recirculating his content, or they're bringing him in for interviews, okay? So if you want to watch this debate and you have time, I mean, it is 3 hours. I wouldn't even really recommend doing it like that. What I recommend is going to Just Pearly Things and probably checking for the shorter clips, so you're not basically spending so much time on something that may not be worth it. But this is something that I was able to listen to piece by piece over the course of the last 4 days, and I was able to get through the debate, and it was an utter drubbing. Okay, like I would say 97% of the things he said was on point. Probably 3% was off. You know what I'm saying? Especially in regards to how to righteously do polygamy. You know, some of these guys don't really know how to do that, so they have their own way of it, because again, a lot of these guys are still westernized, and plus on top of that, they don't want to basically be locked in the right way to do righteous polygamy, where you're only dealing with your wives and you're not just going around just dealing with random women and your wives without basically having them as your wife being married to them. So all this playboy lifestyle is one of the things that I disagree with, but the multiple wives and the other stuff that was biblically sound, okay, and what a man should be and what a woman should be, those areas were strong, and he made good positions on that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go on to this other video, okay, because he was arrested. I told you he was arrested, I believe, back, I want to say it was back in April. Him and his brother, they were accused of holding some woman against their will or sex trafficking, which ended up being unfounded. Well, guess what? After this situation, it happened again. Now, this is an old video, okay? This video is from the 29th, but it's actually from another date. He just re-uploaded it, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and play some of this stuff. This is fair use, so I don't, you know, fair use. We don't want any any issues, but I'm just going to play this part for the sake of the context of the conversation that we're having right now.
Yeah, so the Matrix attacked me.
Yeah.
They tried to remove me from social
They've used
media.
their bullets.
They used their bullets. I'm still all over social media, so they failed.
They failed.
What's scary about it, the only thing I will say I don't like about being banned is that you get 3 lives when you attack powerful people. They first ban you and try and shut you up. Secondly, they'll put you in jail for something you didn't do. And thirdly, they'll kill you. So I've used my first life, which is kind of upsetting when you know that next is going to be some false charges.
The 2 worst ones.
Yeah, and if you survive the false charges, you just die.
Jesus.
So that's kind of upsetting. But
That's kind of upsetting.
it is.
Yeah, so basically he understands that once you're targeted, it's hard for you to basically get away from that particular area, because one, he's removed off of social media, off of all platforms. I mean, we're talking about, this was a memo that was sent to all social media platforms, from TikTok to Facebook, Instagram. Get rid of this guy. Twitter, all his stuff was shut down. Now, he got, like I said before, he was reinstated on Twitter by Elon Musk after his purchase, but he's still banned on these other platforms. Now, as you see what he said, he was banned from platforms, which is one. The next step is to basically levy false charges and accusations against you. It will put you in jail. If you're able to escape that, the next step is to try and kill you. Now, he actually has videos where he literally said to his followers months ago that if they ever say that he committed suicide, it's a lie, because he and his brother would never kill themselves. Okay. Now, by the way, I wanted to also add, as far as with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's grandfather is a so-called black man from Chicago. Okay. He grew up in England after, I guess, his parents divorced. And just like with his brother, that's why he has an English accent. However, his grandfather is a so-called black man from Detroit. I believe his grandfather or his father was a big-time chess champion in the game of chess. So, and he's also, I believe, a 5-time world kickboxing champion. Okay, so we're talking about, and he's also worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, so that's just a little bit about his background in regards to who he is. But right now, you can see what he's going through. Now, I will say this. Another thing that I wanted to point out as well is that Andrew Tate has converted to Islam. Now, one of the things that is very interesting about that is the fact that he converted to Islam, and then you're talking these manosphere talking points, right? These red pill talking points. So another aspect of what some people may think, or maybe what is very interesting, is that could they try and tie Islamic fundamentalism to this way of thinking? Okay, and could they use Andrew Tate in the case to basically illustrate him converting to Islam, okay, recently, and him basically being against the West based on his rhetoric, okay? So we have to just play it out and wait and see if that's the case, or if they're going to try and spin the narrative that way, and how it'll ultimately affect everything else. Because like I said, whether this is real or whether this is controlled opposition, the agenda is still the agenda, right? The agenda at the end of the day is to basically emasculate men, okay, and masculinate the woman. Even if it's by freaking proxy order of the government through these different social programs to prop these women up higher above the men, to give them a platform above the men and keep the men destitute and out of society's way to basically have authority over their home. Okay, and that's why this stuff is just falling apart. But this is part of the agenda because it works towards New World Order initiatives. Now, how did this happen? I'm going to go ahead and go into this right here. This is Change. This is an Instagram page. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read this. It says, Andrew Tate and his brother have been arrested in Romania in a human trafficking investigation. Authorities were able to locate Tate after identifying a local pizza box in his lane. Comeback video, which he posted, directed at climate activist Greta Thunberg. Now, there's a few things to unpack here. I'm not going to go into everything. Now, we're going to get into Greta Thunberg. What I'm going to say is this, they said that they basically were looking for him. They didn't know where he was at. But he was just in London. He had to fly into Romania, so you had to know whether or not he was in the country, because you would basically have that in the system that he flew in and checked in through the international airport in Romania, and more than likely went home and didn't leave anywhere, right? So how is it that you didn't know where he was if he flew back into Romania, more than likely, because he was just in London last week? Another thing, the use of the pizza box. Anybody who was around years back, 2015, 16, you had something called Pizzagate. Pizzagate was a scandal that basically concerning child or sex trafficking. And basically there's a pizza spot over in Washington, D.C. that is frequented by a lot of the people that work in the Congress and the House. And basically this place was alleged to be a place that had a dungeon underneath where kids were basically being sex trafficked in Washington, D.C. And that's what became this big scandal called Pizzagate. How do I really know this? Because one of my first, if not my first time we got a community guideline strike was over that video that we did concerning Pizzagate. That was one of the first videos that I actually had, if not the first video that I had literally banned, okay, from the main page. So is this pizza just a symbolic thing, not shown by Tate, but by the people that are in the know, to basically allude to a scandal over this image of the pizza? Because remember, pizza is considered, this Pizzagate thing, the pizza itself is a symbol dealing with child sex trafficking. It's a whole big can of worms that was opened up years ago, and it got to the point where on all social media platforms, we're talking about the immense suppression like you've never believed. Like immense level of suppression of the Pizzagate scandal that occurred back at that time. Okay, and now that one's considered just a conspiracy theory. Okay, if you look it up now, you're probably gonna run mainly into conspiracy theory stuff. Maybe if you go to Reddit, somebody can break it down step by step and show you how that whole Pizzagate scandal initially went down. So now we're gonna go into these slides. So this is Greta Thunberg. We're gonna get into her and who she is. Okay, this right here is from Twitter. I mean, I think you can see the name of who and what that is, okay? But it's understood does not need to be explained based on the Twitter handle. Romanian authorities needed proof that Andrew Tate was in the country, so they reportedly used his social media posts. His ridiculous video yesterday featured a pizza from a Romanian pizza chain, Jerry's Pizza, confirming he was in the country. This is absolutely epic. Now, if you notice, not only Twitter, but Blue Check, right? These are confirmed, sock puppets, okay, that are there to promote, globalist talking points. So, in fact, right here, we just read that. That's basically the same thing that was written here for the most part. But you can see what we're getting at right here. Now, you can just see the comments, okay, from a bunch of feminists. Okay, look at Andrew Tate owns 33 gas guzzling cars. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Okay, we're gonna get into why they're talking about gas guzzling issues, right, with cars. Okay, I don't want to click on the rest, but you get the drift. Okay, so now just go into Bing.com, search, looked up Greta Thunberg, but World Economic Forum, right? Now, the World Economic Forum is basically like a forum that helps gather together all the ideas toward the New World Order, period. Okay? This is where they're discussing the MOTB, digital currency, digital ID, you know what I'm saying? The VPAC, for some of y'all that know that term. Okay, the jump shot, that's another term, if you know what I mean. So, these people that are there, these are basically hand-picked puppets of the New World Order that they prop up, okay? Like, people don't understand how heavy and deep this thing gets, right? So they're basically saying that this young woman was able to fool, Andrew Tate into tweeting his location. This is what they're trying to make people think. Okay? And mind you, that her reply in that tweet is actually one of the most liked tweets of the year, if not the most liked. So we're talking about somebody who's being pushed up in the forefront. So we're going to get into this, man. This is getting crazy, right? This is just getting crazy. Now, as you see here, it says she's a Swedish environmental activist. This is her full name. She basically was part of a movement when she was like 16 years old, or when she was like in high school or secondary school, depending on where you're from, where she promoted a movement called School Strike for Climate. So she's about promoting climate change. Now I say, what does that have to do with Andrew Tate? There's no issues on the climate change with Andrew Tate specifically. However, is such a figure that she is being used to talk about various things as well. But her main thing is dealing with climate change, right? So let's go ahead and go into her Wikipedia. I'm not going to read everything here. I'm just going to read some of it. But I'm going to give you just a breakdown of some of these things that are being said. Now, it says here is that Greta Thunberg is a Swedish environmental activist who is known for challenging world leaders to take immediate action for climate change mitigation. She's challenging whole world leaders that got armies behind them, okay, millions and some of them billions of dollars at their disposal. can execute people in many of these countries at the drop of a hat, and they're going to go listen to a little girl from Sweden. See, that's what they want these people to believe in. You got dullards out here that are literally in this society that literally will follow behind these things. And this is the reason why you can see that a lot of these people are just going to submit to the New World Order. In fact, they're going to beg and they prefer it. That's what most of the people in this society want. They want the New World Order. They're not even going to bat an eye. And you saw how they did with the outbreak, with the fake outbreak. You see how people just bowed down to that with barely anything being taken away from them. Okay? So it's just craziness. Now let's see what it says here. It says in August 2018 at 15, she started spending her Fridays outside the Swedish parliament to call for stronger action on climate change by holding up a sign reading "School Strike for Climate." Now, if you don't know anything about Sweden, these Scandinavian countries are so far left. Okay, they're so far gone that majority of women having kids out of wedlock. People don't even really get married over there. The men got so upset about it that the men in Sweden started going to Thailand to go get wives in the Philippines. And the feminist woman who don't want to get their act right in Sweden went and tried to get them to stop allowing Asian women to come into their country to be wives to the men that they don't want to be wives to. Yeah. Rewind that back and play it again if you didn't understand. Because this is the type of stuff that's going on. And the whole thing with the climate change thing is all about one thing. This right here. Thunberg's activism began when she persuaded her parents to adopt lifestyle choices that reduced her own carbon footprint. She persuaded her parents to adopt lifestyle choices that reduce her own carbon footprint. What does that mean? Driving, less of it. Even taking a train, less of it, because if you go and you're doing these things, you're actually contributing to the environmental issues, right? So what people understand is that one of the New World Order initiatives, United Nations, is carbon footprint. Okay, that's why they're going to institute something called the carbon tax. Okay, if you drive a certain amount of miles, if you have a certain kind of car, you're going to get taxed. Okay, they're going to try and prevent you through punishment, through punitive damages, means of making you submit to not doing certain things. They're getting to the point where they're saying that you need to eliminate meat, because if you have all these animals, they're going to be eating grass and they're going to be basically, emitting carbon dioxide when they, do a number 2. And so we're going to need to just become all vegan or not eat meat. Bro, it's a heavy thing that's going on with what they're trying to promote. And people have no idea how far they're willing to go with this, okay? And so, as you see here, she's known as an environmental activist. Mind you, at 15 is when she started this, okay? Now, what you're going to realize is that this is somebody that is literally being propped up, okay, by the powers that be. It's crazy. Now, I'm going to skip down. He says her sudden rise to world fame made her both a leader in the activist community and a target for critics, especially due to her youth. Her influence on the world stage has been described by The Guardian and other newspapers as the Greta effect. She receives numerous honors and awards, including the Honorary Fellowship of the Royal Scottish Geographical Society, inclusion in the Times 100 Most Influential People, being the youngest Time Person of the Year, inclusion in the Forbes list of 100 most powerful women in 2019. Okay, now you know what's very interesting of that. She was called a woman in 2019, and last I checked, in 2019 she would have been 16 years old. Now you can either look at it one of two ways. You can either look at it from the standpoint of they were trying to promote pedophilia by promoting her, because some people believe that if you're not 18 and you're a woman, that you are basically a child, and therefore anybody dealing with a woman or a female, we'll put it like that is under 18 is basically dealing with is definitely a pedophile, so to speak. Or could it be that they were so ready and amped to try and promote her, even though she was 16 years old, that they threw her on this list because they needed to give her more of a push? Okay? So that's really what it is. Because they could have put her in the young person's influential people, or the most influential people, under 35. They have different lists. But they put her in the most powerful women's list. Now, she was also nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. So you think that's going to end? They're really promoting her big time. Okay? So, I'm going to skim through and show you just some weird stuff that this is in 2018 when she stood in front of the school. This is the whole, strike for climate. This is the picture that went viral on social media, on CNN, MSNBC, where they showed this girl talking about how she wants to change the climate, which again, her people destroyed. They're the ones that destroyed the earth. Okay. That's why it says that your time has come that thou shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth. We need Captain Planet. That's our hero. We need Yahweh Shai and the angels. We need the Most High to send people, to send the powerful ones that will come and clean this environment up. Okay? Because it ain't working with this dude, Esau. It ain't working with Bizarro Man, the mad scientist. Okay? So this is another one. It's from 2019. This is what they talk the Fridays for Future protests, like it was alluded to earlier. So you see these different signs. Look how long the Wikipedia page is. You can't tell me that this person is not set up. I mean, we're talking about going to UN Climate Action Committee Summit. I mean, these are big organizations, big publications, big newspaper media outlets that are promoting the heck out of her. Okay, she's only 19 years old. I mean, I'm talking about got a Wikipedia page longer than famous men that lived, 6-7 decades. I mean, Michael Jackson's page probably not even this long. Okay? Definitely promote the jump shot. You already know. Okay? I'm telling you, bro, if you read this stuff, it's just straight out of just like a straight movie script, bro. Like, they got documentaries on a 19-year-old already, like she's just some superhero. And look at all this stuff, honors and rewards. I mean, it's an endless list. Since 2018, I mean, just every year. The works, okay? Got different things published. Now look at the references. Look how much stuff is here, bro. Like, it's ridiculous. You 19 years old with all this? Yo, stop the cap. 290 entries? Yo, this is crazy. This is the one that allegedly exposed Andrew Tate. Okay? So we're talking about somebody that's able to be used as a hero in the eyes of the world because she's being promoted, and it makes everything even go that much more viral when she's involved in it. Bro, this is some weird stuff, okay? But this is how far they're willing to go. So let's go ahead and go on to this, because we got to flip this in regards to the gospel on what they are willing to do. They're willing to do this to Andrew Tate, okay? And he's not even in the gospel. What is he going to do to you when you're in the gospel? We have to understand the times that we're in. This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Okay? Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So we got to understand that in the times we're coming into, people are going to start speaking all manner of evil against us. Okay? In fact, that has already happened. Okay? Being all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. The namesake is all the things that basically Yahweh Shai embodies. It's not even just his name. It's for his sake. Okay? His sake. That's what we're promoting. Okay? That you have to do this for his name's sake. For his sake, this is why we're doing it. And because of that, you're going to be reviled. You're going to be persecuted. And you're going to have lies spoken against you. Okay? And this is the type of things that they could drum up even against brothers in the Israelite community, okay, all throughout the country. Because they're always talking about the next level of slander that they want to put upon the people to discredit us. Okay? So this is John chapter 11 and verse 47. This is what happened to Yahushua when he was making waves with the gospel. And look what eventually happened. And this is the type of stuff that Andrew Tate is talking about. But this is what happened to our Savior. Okay? So we're going to go start at John chapter 11 verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doth many miracles. Now, for Andrew Tate, in the eyes of the people in the public, he's still out there being relevant. To them, it's a miracle that he's still alive and kicking. He's still relevant, even though they banned him from all these social media platforms. Okay? Now, for Yahushua was going around and preaching the word and doing miracles, and it became offensive, okay, to those that were looking to hold power. Now, verse 48, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. So this is what they're worried about on the wise of like a Andrew Tate or any man that basically is getting the minds of the people, okay, is that if you leave him alone, all men will eventually believe in this said person. So now you see that with Yahushua. How do we know this? Because as the more and more Yahushua gets promoted, the more and more these scriptures are being taught, the more and more these Christians, okay, these apologetics, street apologetics people, the more and more they get frustrated with what's going on. Okay? So we have to understand is that they conspire, and as we see here, we go down, they conspired. So it says, we'll just go down to verse 53. Then from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death. And that's what Andrew Tate was talking about. The silencing, if that don't work, the next thing is to bring false accusations, which if you go through the gospel accounts, you're going to realize that Yahushua was lied and talked down on falsely to try and discredit him among the people. They called him a Samaritan, okay? They said that he was a sinner. They accused him of breaking the Sabbath. They accused him of him and his disciples being dirty for not washing their hands before eating. All kinds of things they try to levy against him, but none of them charges stuck. Because again, this is the Lamb without blemish. He knew no sin, okay? But that didn't stop them from basically hurling those lies. And once those lies don't work, then they're going to take counsel to put the person to death, to make it look like an accident, to make it look like it was really their fault. And this is what they could potentially be trying to do to Andrew Tate. And like I said, there's a lot of things in between the scenes where we don't know exactly like where they're trying to go with this. But like I said before, the agenda is the agenda. Men are not supposed to be men anymore moving into the New World Order. They're supposed to be emasculated. They're supposed to try and be women. They're supposed to be confused, depressed, without purpose. Okay? That is their best thing that they feel that they need to do in order to maintain power. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And you see here that in order to get to verse 13, you may have to go through all these other things. You may have to, in verse 9, be afflicted. Maybe even be killed for standing up for the name, for standing up for the way of righteousness. You may have to be offended, meaning somebody going to try and bring a scandal upon you to try and cause you to fall, or try and destroy you, destroy your reputation. Okay? Those same people going to betray you. So those same people are going to, hurl hatred towards you. And this is the time that we're in. And this is what's happening. This type of thing can happen to Andrew Tate, and he ain't even got the gospel. He ain't got the most powerful weapon on the planet, the powerful knowledge that destroys kingdoms. That has been given by the Most High, all right, through his Son, okay, by his grace and mercy, giving us of his Spirit, that we may have a proper understanding. If that man by the name of Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, his brother, can basically get this type of treatment, even if you feel it's staged, if it's staged, at the end of the day, this is what they are looking to ultimately do in real life. So we have to understand the time that we're in. A lot of this stuff that's happening right now, it makes sense because of the fact that the powers that be really don't want men to be men, because by less men, being able to do what is required of them to be men without being hindered by women, but who they prop up, then you'll see a higher level of elevation, okay, amongst the people. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen on this side. That will happen with the twinkling of the eye when Yahweh has returned and has restored, Israel to prominence as a kingdom, as an empire across the world. And then at that point, under that new covenant, under those new bodies, that's when you're going to see the ultimate form and highest form of what the Most High says a man should be, the man of Israel, particularly the elect. So hopefully this is edifying. And again, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, grace and mercy to the hopeful elect. Shalom.